Back in the days, online education was considered as the secondary option to grant education, since only the learners who can afford good internet and high-end devices were able to enjoy the benefits of online learning. However, as can be seen nowadays, especially after the COVID-19 outbreak that has affected almost everything including our education, online learning has continuously become the only viable option for most of people that wants to continue their studies. As it is important for adapting well with this current learning method, this video is going for further discussion on online learning, which is particularly for science teacher. So first thing first, let's begin with the introduction. What is online learning? Online learning is an internet-based course offered synchronously and or asynchronously. In synchronous online learning, there is a live engagement between the instructors and students at the same time, but from different locations. While for asynchronous online learning, the engagement is with the course contents where it happens at different time and from different locations. The course contents may come in the form of pre-recorded video where no online interaction will take place. Synchronous learning also allows students to ask questions while the presentation is in progress. Students can receive the response to their questions from the instructors directly. While for asynchronous, students will have time to deliberate and reflect before asking their questions. But they cannot ask questions directly because of no live interaction with the others. The examples of platforms that can be used for online learning are Google Meet, Zoom, PHET interactive simulations, Padlet, and also Java Lab.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Ezzanie and I will talk about the advantage and disadvantage of teaching science using online learning for teachers. First of all, flexible working hour. Flexible work hour is one of the top benefits of online teaching. Once lessons are online, teachers no longer have to wake up before 6 a.m. or to be in school by 7:30 a.m. Depending on the after-school activity teachers are committed to, some may only return home late in the evening past 6 p.m. With online classes, teachers can save on travel time and they can plan or structure extra activity according to their availability. It is also more convenient and the time saved can be devoted to help weaker students, marking tests or examination, or even have more downtime with their families. Next is, it is easier for teachers to update the course content. As teachers, it is known on how annoying it is when they have to print out their course note only to find several typos in them. It appears unprofessional to make this correction with a pen. It is also worse if the mistake remains uncorrected and students will not learning the wrong concept. Fortunately, online teaching means that the course material we upload to online teaching platform can be easily swiped out for the corrected version. It is also possible to build on and update existing resources to ensure that our online resources remain relevant to the syllabus. The third advantage is increased student access to the teacher. The common worries that teachers have is that weaker students tend to struggle to keep up with the pace of lesson before they now fall further behind. Contrarily to this belief, students have seized the opportunity of online learning to seek help from teachers more often than they otherwise would have. In other words, teaching online has ironically made it easier for teachers to identify and provide more guidance for students who face difficulty with the course content. As teachers, we do not know what students are unsure about if they did not speak up or approach us after classes. This may be a mismatch between what we think students know and what students truly understand. Online learning or online teaching bridge this gap and made it easier for teachers to address the students to know if they understand or not. First and foremost is online learning can cause isolation. In an online learning environment, students lack human connection, which can lead to mental issues such as negative thought, anxiety, and heightened stress. Many find it difficult when they don't hear words of encouragement face-to-face from teachers or receive feedback from their peers. Next, preventing cheating is also a difficult sign. Unfortunately, when the test or examination online, it's easier for students to cheat on online tests versus in-person exam. Without the watchful eyes of their teacher, they can use their device or notes to cheat. Additionally, students can let another person help or take the test for them. Without having the proper system in place to prevent cheating, students can easily pass their courses. Last but not least, certain subjects, especially science stream subjects, is a bit difficult to teach. Due to circumstances, some subjects are much harder to teach in an online setting. Subjects such as humanity and social science are much more favorable in online learning environment than engineering and the medical field. In addition, many extracurriculum activities will be removed, such as art, music, and physical education. During this COVID-19 era, the learning and teaching method have been divided into two types, which is classroom teaching and online teaching. Right now, we are going to take a look at what are the advantages and disadvantages of classroom and online teaching. Store for the teachers. The advantages for classroom teaching include collaborative learning. Classroom environment promotes and stimulates a dynamic known as collaborative learning. Collaborative learning translates into a type of learning in which the pairing or grouping of students is required to complete a task or to come to a specific outcome. Volume 7 of Virginia Tech Journal of Technology Education explained that collaborative learning enhances student critical thinking skills. Teaching in a classroom gives students the opportunity to engage in live discussion in which they are forced to use their critical thinking skill to formulate opinions or arguments. Other than that, the benefit for classroom teaching for teacher is the teacher can help the student to develop their social development. When students are placed in a live classroom, they experience social interaction with peers and establish rapport with the teacher. Helping children develop socially is an important aspect within the realm of their academic education. Classroom teaching environment helps students figure out how to resolve conflicts, work in team, get along with those from different cultures, and give presentation in front of their peers. Such experiences are valuable in shaping students' communication and listening skills, as well as growing and maturing emotionally. The third advantage is educational advantages. Teaching in classroom environment opens up opportunity for teachers to do more with their lesson plan. Rather than lecture students and make them take note, classroom keep children stimulated through interactive and interesting activities. When students are engaged in their studies, they retain more of the material and really learn the information. Classroom teaching also accommodates different types of learners. For instance, students who are visual learners can excel in classroom setting, while theoretical presentation, storytelling, or movie contribute to the lesson. Hands-on learners may also do well in a school room. Meanwhile, for online teaching, the advantages are teachers have geographically and borderless reach toward the students. Without questions, one of the incredible benefits of online teaching is the ability for the teacher to literally teach and reach students from every corner of the world. No matter where they are, with the help of online platform, teachers can teach them all kinds of knowledge without getting worried if their students can make it in class or not. Next is time flexibility. Teaching online also provides the teacher with the opportunity to provide lessons 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Students can do the workshop whilst the teacher are sleeping or laying on the beach reading a book. The teacher also do not need to present themselves if they wanted to make the lesson pre-recorded and etc. Typically, they can design this type of course with video, PDF, PowerPoint presentation, or whatever they wish to include, and then upload the lesson to any of the online platform they want. Lastly, the advantages of online teaching make the teaching more affordable. What the teacher needs is only a laptop or any devices that can connect to the internet, and then they can start their lesson. They do not need to leg out money for traveling fee. The class can be provided at the nest of their home. While there's advantages, this type of teaching will also have their disadvantages. Classroom teaching and online teaching also have their own weakness that we must take into consideration. For classroom teaching, the disadvantages lies on the time travel and the cost it used. With classroom teaching, the teacher have to present themselves inside the classroom by hook or by crook. This will cost a lot of time to travel from their home, and not to mention the cost they have to use. Sometimes the teacher will come late or postpone the class due to they cannot make it on time. Besides that, classroom teaching also made the lesson lack in emphasizing on critical thinking. Traditional classroom training doesn't encourage critical thinking skill, the ability to actively apply information gained through experience and reasoning. Instead, classroom teaching emphasizes the role of teacher as a knowledge diffuser and student as repositories. This type of learning doesn't allow students deeper level of understanding required for complex concepts and lifelong learning. And the last disadvantages for classroom teaching is lacking process-oriented learning. Traditional training emphasizes passing tests whether or not students understand the material. The learning process is thus devalued, and students are not encouraged to understand the method, technique, and skill required to find answers. Constructive learning holds the process as important as result because it stimulates skill important long after schooling. Meanwhile, If we take a look at online teaching, the disadvantages for this include online classes are prone to have technical issues. The classic disadvantages of online teaching center around the technical problem. Nothing can disrupt an online lesson more than audio, video, or connection issue. This can be an annoyance to the teacher to deliver their lesson. Next is online teaching require additional training for instructor. Online classes imply an additional learning curve and extra effort on the teacher's behalf to create a successful online course. Teachers need to get a deep understanding of the different approaches to teaching and learning to avoid just replicating the physical class environment and miss out on all the added advantages and tools that e-learning and blended learning have to offer. Of course, teachers also need proper technique to tackle the technical aspect of online learning, such as the use of video and audio recording equipment, virtual classroom, and lecture capture software, and of course, the learning management software. The combination of all these new skills represent a steep learning curve for the teacher, but a thoughtful investment in proper technique will pay off tenfold for the institution, the teacher, and the students. Lastly, online teaching means more screen time. It's pretty much inevitable in 2020, but do we spend a frightening amount of time in front of the screen? Online learning sadly contributes to this problem. Excessive screen time can lead to all sorts of physical ailments like pure posture or headaches, but it also can be a personal issue to the teacher who is old and already have a bad eyesight. The better online learning platform and software out there have all kinds of tools and features to help students staying attentive and engaged, and also help the teacher to deliver their course content more successfully.
Now let's discuss the advantages of both online learning and traditional classroom learning for students. Let's take a look first at the advantage of online learning. Firstly, online learning is flexible since it doesn't involve strict schedule and it doesn't require students to be physically present on the class. Therefore, students are able to learn at their own pace. Secondly, students can review and obtain courses material easily. Since the online platform for online learning enables teachers and students to upload many types of media such as slides, recorded video, photos, thus students could have the access of these materials and sources easily. Next, online learning also boosts opportunities for classroom subject discussion. This is because online classroom platforms such as Google Classroom and Moodle have its own section for students to have discussion. Online learning also, students will be able to enhance their IT literacy since they will be dealing and be familiar with various types of media and sources on the internet. Lastly, online learning is more student-centered learning environment. This is because online learning trains students to be an independent learner. For traditional classroom learning, the first advantage is it's a direct interaction and communication between teacher and students. Therefore, students can easily ask questions and interact with teacher and friends during the class session. Next, traditional classroom learning gives a greater motivation environment. This is because it provides interpersonal communication, which is crucial to keep students engaged and fully satisfied with the learning experience. Traditional classrooms also provide the better cultivate of essential interpersonal skills. In a traditional classroom, it is easier for instructor to evaluate students' strengths and weaknesses and give guidance to them. Lastly, more hands-on experience activity could be conducted on traditional classroom learning. Hands-on experience is important for students so that they could apply the theory they learned into real-world application. Plus, some fields just require hands-on experience, such as lab session for students to be more understanding about the topic that they learn in class. For the disadvantages of online learning for students, firstly, it lacks of hands-on experience. Students won't be able to get the hands-on experience such as direct experiment on laboratory, kitchen, and many more through online learning. Secondly, the possibility of cheating and plagiarism on assessment. Despite the benefits of many references and sources could be obtained on web, some students abuse this benefit and use it for cheating and plagiarize for their assessment. Moreover, online learning also requires strong self-motivation and time management skills. For some students, the lack of supervision on online learning may cause too much of freedom for them, which will make them fall behind without anyone letting them know. Lastly, the disadvantage of online learning is the lack of face-to-face communication. This drives students to feel the class is not fun and engaging and make them to feel less motivated. Next, let's move to the disadvantages of traditional classroom learning. Firstly, traditional classroom learning requires a physical presence of teacher and student. This makes it not flexible as online learning where students can learn at their own pace wherever they are. Traditional classroom learning also involves a strict schedule. Since traditional classroom requires physical presence or attendance of students and teachers, thus students are more bonded with strict schedule with traditional classroom. Moreover, traditional classroom also requires high costs. This is because it needs a big amount of cost for the maintenance for the infrastructure and facilities needed to conduct the class. Lastly, traditional classroom gives more teacher-centered learning environment. In contrast with online learning, where students are trained to be independent learner, traditional classroom highlight the important role of teacher on presenting information to the students, where these students are expected to passively just receive the knowledge being presented by the teacher.
Okay, let's move on to the role of science teacher in online learning. When we talk about the role of science teacher, there are so many responsibilities that teachers play in the classroom or school. The first one is teacher act as a resource person. They will guide the students as to where they can look for available science information. Next, they are also the observer of the students. They will evaluate how well the students are performing in science class. Other than that, this is the very common one, which is the teacher act as a tutor. They will provide advice, guidance, and help students in science. Last but not least, teachers also act as a controller, in which they control the activities or materials in science class. Educators are scrambling to find innovative methods to support learners through online learning. But as education moves from bricks to clicks, not all teachers find it easy to migrate to a fully online learning environment. So, this guideline will help teachers to face and manage online learning class better. When teaching online, most teachers face the main problem that students are not in the same room to tackle doubts and misconceptions. Moreover, most of the learning time will be driven by tasks that need a lot of self-direction. The whole process can be frustrating for both teachers and students at first. To tackle this, the first one is simplicity is the key. It is essential to create online learning experiences with clear instructions that are easy for students to follow. Ensure you create tasks with clear instructions that will help the students quickly figure out what to do with defined parameters. When teaching online, educators must push themselves to deliver their classes in the simplest and most effective manner. The second one is focus on active learning. In a traditional classroom, teachers often deliver long lectures to fill the time, but in an online classroom, that practice won't give good results. Instead, online teachers must focus on using a combination of audio and video lectures, discussions, hands-on exercises, and others to engage students. The online classroom must be an active learning environment that uses a blend of interactive teaching methods. Also, teachers must actively participate in class. Regardless of where the class takes place, it is important for the educator to be present mentally. Simply responding to the question of the student won't help much. Instead, teachers must actively engage with the students in the online classroom. Establishing a personal connections with the students will help teachers provide a positive learning experience. Rather than just delivering the classes in a monotonous way, be a storyteller. All students love hearing stories if they can relate to them. Incorporate storytelling into their teaching method to make the classes interesting to the students. Next is simulation and virtual labs. A virtual lab refers to a virtual teaching and learning environment aimed at developing students' laboratory skills that are very practical to use during online learning. As one of the most important e-learning tools, they allow the students to conduct various experiments without any constraint on place or time, in contrast to the constraint of real labs. Virtual labs incorporate various pedagogical techniques that helps learners to better understand the theoretical information. They also offer students access to a realistic lab experience that will allow them to perform experiments and practice their skills in a risk-free and interactive learning environment, especially during online learning. At the end of the lesson, teachers must seek and leverage feedback from the students. Evaluating the classes based on the feedback from the student can indicate what is working well and what is not. If teachers are running online courses, they can request learners to leave reviews about the course after completion. This will also help to spread the good word about your classes to new prospects.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today, I will explain about the online platform used in teaching science. Online platform is the education portal that enables teachers to deliver live or on-demand course content supported by digital collaboration and learning tools. There are many of the online platforms that teachers can use in teaching science, especially in the live learning. For example, Google Meet, Zoom, PHET simulation, Padlet, Java Lab, and others. But today, I will explain about 5 of the online platforms that can be used in teaching science, especially in the online learning. First example of the online platform that can be used is the Google Meet. Google Meet is a video conferencing service from Google. It's a great solution for both teachers and students. It's used to meet on audio or video calls. Google is primarily designed as a way to host a video meeting. However, you can enable the camera and microphone independently. So you can just use it for audio call if you wish. Teachers can share their entire screen or PowerPoint slide in teaching and learning session. This is a great benefit for teachers and students in a teaching and learning process because it's a two-way direction between teachers and students. The another benefit that Google Meet provide is it can be support up to 100 participants. So, as a teacher, you can conduct 2 or more classes at the same time using Google Meet. The second example is Zoom. Zoom is a video conferencing tool that provides teachers and students a way to meet online synchronously via a personal PC or laptop or your smartphone or cell phone. With or without using videos. Teacher can set up Zoom meeting to conduct classes online, as well as record them for later access by students. Zoom also allows you to implement many of the same teaching methods that you use in a face-to-face classroom. This is important for us to bring our students feel alive in our classroom, whether it's a face-to-face classroom or online classroom. Another thing is Zoom allow us to switch back and forth between different type of teaching method. For example, lecture, small group discussion, or other else. We can do this, switch back and forth as many times as we need during a class session. For the third platform that can teacher use in teaching science in online learning is PHET simulation. PHET provide a fun, free, interactive, research-based science and mathematics simulation. With PHET, students are able to run this simulation in manipulation between different aspects of a construct to understand science and mathematics concept. Depending on the simulation, students may also be able to collect a graph and analyze data to draw a conclusion of their own. In PHET, students can access the simulation and it's free to use by anyone with a device and an internet connection. This is mean students can access it through a PC or a laptop or their own smartphone. This is a great resource for making our STEM concept come alive. And the fourth platform that we can use is a Padlet. For your information, Padlet is a digital tool that can help teachers and students in class and beyond by offering a single place for a notice board. This is a digital notice board is able to feature image, link, videos, and documents. And all the digital notice are collected on a wall that can be made public or private. This means that not only teachers can post on the wall, but also students can post on the wall. Since the interactive space is easy to use and easily accessible from nearly any web browser capable device. And it's a great resource for teachers and students in teaching and learning process. And the last online platform is Java Lab. For your information, Java Lab is a free interactive science simulation and it's written by JavaScript. Java Lab is simulate various natural phenomena. In Java Lab, it include about physics, chemistry, earth, astronomy, biology, measurement, and also mathematics experiment. One of the benefits in Java Lab is when you open the website, you don't need to plug in add-on. That means that you can use or you can begin the experiment straightly or immediately without any add in another app to make the experiment functional. And it's also available on a mobile device or tablet also. So if you don't have a computer, PC or laptop, you can use your cell phone or your smartphone to access the Java Lab. And last but not least, Java Lab website is a free to use and no membership at all. So everyone can access the Java Lab, whether teachers and students. Double Lab is interactive simulation or experience in experiment for us in online learning. That's all from me. Thank you.
As a conclusion, professional learning in online learning environment and through social networking hold promise. The potential to use new media to enhance teacher teaching science using online platform is undeniable. There are, however, challenges to overcome, such as some students without reliable internet access or technology struggle to participate in digital learning. This gap is seen across country and between income bracket within the country. So we can say that online learning is really a good platform for teaching science, but it has their own advantages and disadvantages.
I know both is not enough.